This is the very first fire rock that was ever installed. We put it in at my house to test it, and people are like, what resort are you at?
Exactly. They just say, where's that waterfall?
So fun with just so many different options. Welcome to living the Aquascape lifestyle. Well, I wasn't planning on doing this, but I hear the neighbor. Hey neighbors!
Hi.
How you doing?
Walking out with wine.
This is the ritual, right? Having a glass of wine by your pond or our pond.
Yes.
And then letting Miss Willow come over and play with Dawson. Willow, you want to go over? Can Willow come over and play?
Yes.
Can I come over and see the pond?
Yes.
All right. Come on, this is what we do.
Come on, Willie.
We put the dog over the fence
Gotcha.
and they start fighting. And Rex kind of watches them. Honey, you gonna come over too? Okay.
I'll come unlock the front door.
And then I do this. She goes through the front door, I do this. How you doing, Mike?
I'm good.
Haven't seen each other in a week, but I wanted to showcase how my neighbors are living the aquascape lifestyle with the most incredible impatience I have ever seen. And it was just a flat that we just grabbed at the last minute.
The last minute, so put them in.
And threw them in. And the lily's coming back after getting trimmed up, I see. And you got your fish.
Oh, in fact, we have to feed the fish.
Well, you just got home, right?
Yes.
So we were just hanging out over there. The dogs wanted to say hello to each other. Willow makes herself comfortable. And I'm Greg Wittstock, the Pond Guy. This is my channel, Greg Wittstock, the Pond Guy, and it's all about showcasing how I and my neighbors, Mike and Jen, have been living the aquascape lifestyle. And here comes my wife. I guess tonight we're gonna sit by your pond.
Yes.
Not a bad view from here. Not only did you get a pond just like us, but you got the same umbrella.
Yes, we saw your umbrella, we have umbrella envy.
Is it true that ponds bring neighbors together?
Well, of course. We wouldn't have a pond without you.
Everybody that I meet, I have to get a pond to. So is the frog in your pond tonight, or is...
He was in there.
So we have a frog that jumps back and forth between our two ponds. So Jen, you weren't in the market to get a pond, but how has this changed how you use this space? What was it like before?
A nasty green grass and
Trampoline? Trampoline that my sister now owns.
which also killed the grass and had no view. And now we have this. And so even the girls, we all sit outside all the time.
Well, listen, you sit down. I'm gonna showcase your water feature. Have a glass of wine with Carla. You can see all of the water lilies that they have. And the crazy thing about this water feature was we rebuilt it. It was the last Sandbox studio build for an advanced video that Brian was shooting. And so we replicated it here. They said, we want this in our yard, but instead of making a pondless waterfall like that, we turned it into a pond, because I love to say I am not the pondless waterfall guy, I am the pond guy. And so I love the fact that neighbors can enjoy a water feature with fish and plants and all of the things that obviously come with it. Now, obviously a pondless waterfall is good for some people, but for my next door neighbors, I wanted to get them a pond. The dogs love this. They run around, they drink out of this all the time. In fact, they're up there, they're drinking now. That's Dawson, named after Andre Dawson, and they're about the same age, and that's my dog Willow. And they love to see each other. They love to run around the ponds. And my yard, you could tell, is not very big. I moved from a 4-acre pond. In fact, I'm just gonna go over here again. We need to put a gate right in there. But this is where Carl and I were just sitting when the neighbors got home, and I decided to grab my video camera because it's sadly the end of the season, and you could tell because I have mums. I just replaced my plants that I always put containers with just different sorts of flowers, and then they were starting to die, so I went and got impatiens and replaced them. And it's nice because they're self-watering down there. This pond was created 11 months ago, so this is a first year pond. This entire backyard is not very big, as you can see. So to move from 4 acres to not even a quarter acre, but look at how nice this is. This is what I like to say about living the aquascape lifestyle. This is the very first fire rock that was ever installed. We put it in at my house to test it, and I already have done a couple of tweaks to them, but this is a brand new product. We'll put a link to that. It just came out this last year, but look at this. Does it get any better than this? It really doesn't. It just completely changes the space. I put this cut bluestone patio in here. The dog, I make sure she's got her runway all the way around, you know, the whole area. But for me to be able to come home to this, a little pond with a lot of nice fish in here. This is how I live the aquascape lifestyle. With usually my wife has a glass of wine and we sit out here pretty much all of the time. And why wouldn't you when you've got something this nice to do? And it was done in 2 days. We did this. We did it as a build-a-pond day. I'll actually put a link below to a build-a-pond day that we did with this with a lot of certified aquascape contractors in the Chicagoland area. October, it's now September, when at the beginning of September, the leaves are starting to fall. You can see a little bit down there, but it's towards the end of a season. But I love the fall. Fall's actually my favorite time. The water's clear. It's just got a small biofalls up there, and one of these things I want to show you, this is how you hide a biofalls. I got some potato vine that I put in there. Just look at how hidden that is back there with the potato vine growing on the edges. I still have one container plant that I put in here in the spring that's just in here. Some ajuga over there. I got some ferns, obviously some hostas. The hostas are just finishing their blooms. Willow's got her little doghouse that she loves. But this is just a traditional neighborhood that we moved in here when we decided to downsize. But one cool thing is I have a tropical water lily. I knew when I had this pond, it's only probably 12 feet across, that one tropical water lily would fill it up, and it really has. Beautiful purple leaves. One of the things about a tropical water lily is it's got variegated edges typically, so it's not smooth. The pads are bigger. The lilies come higher up out of the water. And then I got very cool underwater lights in here because it's the color changing lights with these 2 awesome stacked slate spheres, which really frame the waterfall out here. So the Aquascape app, I can just change whatever colors I want. You can do all sorts of spinning wheels. So fun with just so many different options. That's kind of a cool look. The green and the blue. I might actually keep that one. So what's your favorite? The birds absolutely love sitting right on the edge here. I've actually got it turned up right now, but I can turn it down and it's just barely trickling over there. And one of the things about this that's interesting is we didn't put it right up close to the house. When I first bought this house, I was thinking I was gonna put it right up here, but this tree is very messy and I didn't want to get right on top of the roots. And I thought that's where I sit most of the time. There's our bedroom window over there, and we look down at this. And I just wanted to be able to see it. This was actually Brian's idea. Let's just put it in the back corner because the yard is so small, even in the back corner. You always want to be able to see it from inside the house. All of these windows kind of look right down, and trust me when I say this. Every night before I go to bed, I look out the window and look at my fish, and they are so active at night with the underwater lights. And it's just so interesting. It always is changing by the seasons. Like I said, I just put those mums in about a week ago. A water feature's always changing. Here's a little tip. Caladiums also love the water. So in the spring, I just put this caladium right here. I took it out of the pot, put it in the gravel, and look at how great that looks. So whatever color caladium you want, they can go right in the edge of the gravel. And once again, always get watered. And then this is a super cool little ground cover that loves the water. And I got this from Brian. Liverwort, I think it's called. So liverwort is a ground cover and it loves the water. Got the skimmer over here. Here's another tip to help keep the water clean. I put a little white filter pad in here, so a fine cleaning pad, and then I once a week or so wash that off, and that catches the smaller debris that would go into the skimmer. There's my overflow right there for the skimmer, but all I do is empty that skimmer bag once a week, wash that filter pad out. The biofalls that's up there, once a season, clean that out. It just goes. I feed the fish. When I'm out of town for a week, the neighbors come by and feed them once or twice, but if they miss a couple days, no big deal. This entire yard when I just got it was grass, just like most people, so look at the neighbors. You tell me how many times these neighbors hang out together when your yard looks like that. That is traditional backyard. I got a little bit of grass for the dog, but for the most part, it's what this is. This is just so inviting. It creates an atmosphere. And when you create an atmosphere, you're gonna wanna be out there or next door, you know, at the neighbor's house with their atmosphere. All of these plants were put in, got them all from Wasco Nursery. And when the neighbors were hanging out over here, they said, I want one too. Now, would they have ever got a water feature if it wasn't that I moved in next door? Probably not. They didn't know about this, which is why I do these vlogs. I wanna inspire people to live the aquascape lifestyle. And pretty much everywhere I go, people are seeing what it is, like my passion for this. A really funny story that when my son was either 5 or 6 years old, he was with my wife at one of Carla's friends' houses, and he said, Mom, and she said, yeah, Ryan, and he said, where's their water feature? Where's their pond? He had never been to a backyard that didn't have a pond, and it wasn't because those people were in the market to buy ponds, but they knew me. They start hanging out at my house, and then all of a sudden, the next thing you know, they get their pond too. So third time, back and forth. I have done this probably 100 times in the 11 months that I've been here. I'm going across in between the 2 yards. Whatever happened to us getting the gate over here?
It's on back order.
You both work from home, you're both professionals, and you say when you're on your Zoom calls and stuff, you often sit back here and people are like, what resort are you at?
Exactly. They just say, where's that waterfall?
And then you tell them it's my backyard.
Yes.
And then Jen, I know that you've come home from some business trips and the first thing you do is walk in the backyard.
I do, and I check on my fish, and I check on my ponds, and I look at my waterfall, and I took a picture, and because we do printed graphics and displays, they are turning it into a lighted display in my office, and so then it'll be backlit, and it'll actually look.
So even when you're at the office, you can feel like you're at home, and the dogs have loved it too, even Rex and Dawson, huh?
They do. They don't swim in it like Willow does, but they do like to go catch a drink, and they love watching the fish. And Rex every once in a while takes a little snack of the fish food.
Yeah, when you're feeding them. So you guys are both working professionals. You've never owned a pond before. What has it been like in terms of maintenance?
Almost maintenance free.
Seriously.
It's been clean the filter, it's been feed the fish, and water the plants.
And speaking of dogs taking drinks and swimming, there's Willow cooling off from her drink, or from her run with Dawson. She just gets right in there, and dogs absolutely love them. How much more time have you guys spent outside now that you have the pond than when you were here before?
Oh,
Triple.
And Mike, you were here when Ed and I came over here with the guys.
It was awesome. It started out with just some markings on the ground, and then created the magic over 3 days.
We're gonna put some links to the Team Aquascape vlogs of how we built this, but trust me when I say this, a water feature turns a house into a home for dogs and people and neighbors, and I just want to see more people living the aquascape lifestyle. And if you're interested in this as a business and an industry, I'm going to put a link below to find a certified aquascape contractor in your area. And if you're interested in becoming a certified aquascape contractor, I'll put a link to our training so that you too can get the neighbors living the aquascape lifestyle. I love my neighbors and our ponds.